I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
Ah, 1970. The calendar flipped, the decade technically changed. Today we're rolling back the shag carpet to revisit the moments, styles, and sounds that made 1970 feel like the encore performance of the 60s. Number 1. Shag haircuts. If you walked into a salon in 1970, chances are somebody was walking out with a shag haircut. And it wasn't just for the ladies. Guys were getting in on it too. The shag was the great equalizer of the era. Messy, layered, a little rebellious, and a whole lot cooler than the prim and proper styles of the decade before. Think Jane Fonda in Clute, or Mick Jagger strutting around like he invented the look. It was done, but looked undone, like you just rolled out of bed, but in a way that somehow made people think you were effortlessly fashionable. Teen girls loved it because it didn't need hours in front of the mirror with rollers, and moms liked it because it made them feel younger without trying too hard. You'd see shags at school dances, roller rinks, even in Sears catalogs. It was everywhere. And the best part? It looked just as good under a floppy hat or a headband, which were basically required accessories in 1970. Number 2. American Top 40 Debuts with Kasem.
And now, before we hear number 1, at number 2, 7.
If you grew up in 1970, your weekends probably had one soundtrack, and that was Kasem's American Top 40. Debuting on July 4th, no less, Casey's countdown was like a trusted friend who showed up every week with the hits. He had that warm voice, those little, long-distance dedications, and that ability to make even a song you'd heard 50 times feel fresh again. And the songs? Everything from the Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel to the Jackson 5. Basically a 60s mixtape spilling over into the 70s. Number 3. The First Earth Day, April 22nd, 1970.
Earth Day, a question of survival.
Fairmount Park in Philadelphia today is much like a rock music festival as a teach-in on the environment.
For the first time, people across the country stopped to say, hey, maybe smog and polluted rivers aren't such a good thing. The First Earth Day brought together millions of Americans, students, teachers, families, and even politicians, all united under the green banner of environmentalism. It felt like the peace and love movement of the 60s had just found a new mission. Suddenly everyone was planting trees, hugging them too, and putting ecology stickers on their bumpers. Number 4. Leftover mod styles. Miniskirts, bold patterns, and those funky boots. You could still find them strutting around in 1970. The mod look had been born in London and exploded in the 60s, but it lingered just a little longer. Teen magazines were still showing color-block dresses and geometric prints, even while fashion was about to slide into polyester disco territory. It was like the last dance before bell-bottoms, and Paisley fully took over. Number 5. Midnight Cowboy.
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
Now here's the thing. Midnight Cowboy technically dropped in '69, but it still had its shadow all over 1970. It wasn't just another movie. It was the first X-rated film to win Best Picture. And for a lot of people, it was the signal that the squeaky clean days of the 60s were over. You had Jon Voight in his fringe jacket and Dustin Hoffman in that unforgettable "I'm walking here" moment. That line alone turned into a piece of pop culture shorthand overnight. The film's gritty New York streets and raw honesty felt like a sharp break from the Technicolor musicals of just a decade earlier. But the funny part? People were still talking about it in '70 as if it was brand new. It hung in the air, reminding us that culture was shifting. And whether you loved it or hated it, you knew movies weren't going back to the Doris Day style after that. All right, let's be honest. If you've made it this far, you probably love the 70s almost as much as shag carpets and headbands across the forehead. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'll keep the nostalgia flowing like Kasem's countdown, and we'll call it even. And hey, if you're on Facebook, come hang out with us there too. It's like a virtual roller rink for memories, with a lot less disco ball dust. Number 6. Voting age lowered to 18. 1970 was the year young people demanded their voices be heard. With the Vietnam War still raging, the logic was simple. If we're old enough to be drafted, we're old enough to vote. The movement gained traction. In 1970, Congress passed the first law lowering the voting age to 18, sparking a Supreme Court battle that set the stage for the 26th Amendment the very next year. It was a big deal, and another example of that youth-driven activism that had defined the 60s. Number 7. The Odd Couple.
On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. Deep down, he knew she was right.
By 1970, The Odd Couple had jumped from Broadway, hit to a full-blown TV series, and let me tell you, it struck a nerve. You had Felix, the neat freak who practically invented the concept of Type A, and Oscar, the sports writer slob who thought ashtrays were furniture. Every household knew a Felix and an Oscar. Maybe they were roommates in college. Maybe they were your parents. Maybe one of them was you. The chemistry between Tony Randall and Jack Klugman made it more than just a sitcom. It was a mirror of every clash between order and chaos happening under one roof. And the theme song? You could hear the first few notes and instantly picture Felix tidying up after Oscar's trail of potato chip crumbs. In a world where culture was shifting fast, The Odd Couple made us laugh at the idea that maybe we didn't all have to live the same way, and that opposites really could make life interesting. Number 8. Bread's Make It With You. Soft rock took over the airwaves, and Bread's Make It With You was the ultimate example. Gentle, smooth, and just the right amount of romantic. It was the kind of song you'd hear coming from every AM radio station or being slow danced to at a school gym. The psychedelic fuzz of the late 60s was fading, replaced by mellow harmonies and lyrics that made teenage hearts swoon. Number 9. Hip Hugger Pants. If you wanted to be fashionable in 1970, you had to own a pair of hip huggers. Sitting low on the waist, paired with wide belts and flowy tops, they were practically the uniform of the era. They were stylish, daring, and for parents everywhere, just a little bit scandalous. And when paired with platform shoes, you weren't just walking into a room, you were making an entrance. Number 10. Headbands across the forehead. Forget practical headbands that kept your hair out of your eyes. In 1970, the headband wasn't about function, it was about fashion. Worn straight across the forehead, it gave off that hippie, bohemian vibe. Bonus points if it was beaded, braided, or made of leather. Add a flowy dress, some peace sign jewelry, and you looked like you were ready for the encore at Woodstock. So there you have it, 1970, the year that technically started a new decade, but in reality was still living in the shadow of the 60s. The music, the fashion, the TV, it all blended together into one groovy hangover of peace signs, soft rock, and shag haircuts. The 70s were on their way, but the 60s just weren't ready to let go.